Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in to another one of our live stream videos that we have here with Permian Basin Adult Literacy Center. I want to thank also Southwest 66 Credit Union for sponsoring our 2021 live streams. Today, we welcome Mitch Borden with Marfa Public Radio. He's a reporter there. Thank you so much for joining us, Mitch.
Oh, my pleasure. Glad to be here.
Well, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and how you got into journalism and how you made it up here to the Permian Basin.
Yeah, my name's Mitch Borden. I'm originally from Michigan, but I've lived in a lot of places. I started out in working in radio about 6 years ago, with some breaks, scattered throughout there. But really got into journalism about 4 years ago through radio because I was always interested in storytelling for a really long time. And I've just been working my way, till I got to Marfa. I started in radio and I've been a radio reporter for my entire journalistic career. And I started working at small stations in Alaska. Started in Nome, then I worked in Kodiak, and then did some salmon fishery reporting in the Bristol Bay area, and then came down to Marfa to cover the Permian Basin.
Perfect. So you've always been in news journalism. So how do you feel journalism has changed, or specifically news, radio news has changed since you went into the field?
Oh, I think, I think for a lot of my adult life and like even in my career, I think podcasts, documentary podcasts have become more and more of a presence on the market, which is great. A lot of there's a lot of good nonfiction storytelling going on right now. We're kind of in a renaissance for audio. I think before 2010, people probably thought radio would not come out from behind, or audio come out behind a video, and movies to be like one of the most dominant nonfiction storytelling things in the world. But here we are where millions listen to the New York Times daily podcast. This American Life makes amazing shows like Serial. We have Spotify buying Gimlet, which is a podcasting company for millions a few years ago. And then you have still radio stations like Marfa Public Radio producing their own podcasts and collaborating like we did with Texas Monthly's Boomtown, while also still covering daily news. So yeah, I think that's been a huge change and a continuing one that's going to shape as time goes on that I've seen. I also think in the last year especially, or last few years, the top conversations around what is objectivity versus subjectivity. Does that exist? Does objective news telling exist? Has really blown up, and it's a really important conversation to have, especially as we struggle with critiques on media, assertions of fake news, whether that is true because there is fake news out there, or whether that's people calling news organizations or stories fake news when they don't like it. We have kind of a crisis going on with truth in the world a lot of the times because of the internet. And I think news organizations and journalists struggling like, well, can I be objective as a person? I have a background in art, and I think that's a conversation we hear a lot in more critique settings, but we don't hear being talked about among journalists when that's a fact. I have a different perspective and lens that I bring to stories that other people do. And now we're talking about it openly and looking at that as we produce news that is supposed to be informational and reliable. And I think that's a great thing that's going on right now. So, sorry, we kind of went off on
that. Speaking on that, tell us a little bit about Marfa Public Radio and the difference between public, because Marfa Public Radio is an affiliate of a public radio station. So a lot of our viewers, especially probably some of our students, probably don't know what public radio is.
Yeah.
So in the simplest terms, I try to tell them it's public radio is like PBS. It's a free free news station that is for public service. So tell us a little bit about Marfa Public Radio and public radio as a news source.
Well, first of all, like public radio, Marfa Public Radio and all public radio stations, as far as I'm aware, are nonprofits. Mm-hmm. So we are not, like our organization isn't here to make a profit off news production. That's other newspapers and TVs and, audio producers are. That's not a bad thing. It's just that's not what we do. We have public buy-in. That's what our pledge drives are about. If it's easy to make fun of public media when we're always asking for money, but we're doing that because, we view ourselves as a publicly funded organism. And a part of that comes from, our listeners. So we, are like owned by our listeners. We're a member station, kind of like almost a co-op. You pay into it because you like what you hear, and we keep doing what we're doing. That doesn't mean we don't also do underwriting and other things, but that's kind of like basic. We're all about the public buy-in as much as possible and serving our listeners. Yeah. And once again, not that other news stations aren't about that. It's just a different kind of funding style, Right. And public radio has set up a network where Marfa Public Radio is its own entity. We play NPR, which is National Public Radio. So we're part of like this kind of ecosystems of these different individual news stations that feed into the public radio network, and we carry their stories and broadcast them. So we both focus. We have our staff who focuses on West Texas, from the border to the basin, as we like to say, because we cover down from Presidio to up here, while also providing curated shows like Reveal, Marketplace, and while also doing music shows, and then also giving you Morning Edition, and All Things Considered, to make sure you're getting the national news that people expect to hear on a news station.
And y'all provide NPR, or as public radio is called. They also do a great job of providing cultural and educational quality programs and stories, like you mentioned, like StoryCorps. I love listening to StoryCorps. We had them as our featured guest, last year, and just creating great programming around that. So, what do you feel makes NPR or public radio different than other news journalism?
I mean, that's a hard question. I think, for one, it is one of the biggest in radio. I think it's one of the most reliable voices that spans the nation. It's public radio, individual public radio stations have been around for a long time, but the network has been around since, I believe, the 70s when it first started. And it's just established itself as a calm voice in a lot of storms. And I think, and also one that's trying to adapt to new times as we see podcasts innovate in the media sphere. I also think sometimes they just take a moment to put stories on that aren't just the breaking news topics. You'll always hear the greatest hits at the top of the hour and the 4-minute slots for the newscast rundown. But you'll also hear more interesting takes on public interest stories, whether that's myself in a local sense doing a profile on a boot seller that throws boots in his commercials, or hearing about how the census or how vaccines are being distributed in Alaska via snow machines, or these small interviews that you talked about with StoryCorps, these small personal stories that might not find a slot on the nightly news, but that are conversations that really give us a personal experience, whether about this person's place in history, or just to hear someone's voice you may never have heard before. I think that's a big one for NPR. It's putting people one we're striving for, at least, is giving time to people and letting us hear voices we may have never been exposed to or heard before, and just trying to bring more of those voices to the national airwaves.
Yeah. And NPR is known for reporting factual, unbiased, trusted information, but with so much fake and misinformation, being that's out there. How is NPR trying to face these challenges with the misinformation, the fake news, and stations are always bundled into, oh, this is, you're very liberal and you're very conservative, and it's like, how is NPR facing those challenges?
I can only speak for Marfa Public Radio, really. I think we just try and do our jobs the best we can. As we move forward through these things. I think when we just try and if we hear or find some a story that needs fact checking, we'll take the time to fact check. We may not try and play the first to get the story out game, because we want to be 100% sure. I think when it comes to being accused of being biased, to a certain degree, I can't do anything about those accusations. All I can do is
present the facts.
Examine present the facts, but also examine how I'm doing it, and how I'm presenting a story, and talk to my fellow reporters, and feel secure in how we're doing something. And if we misstep, own up to it, or correct the fact if we got something wrong, and move forward. We can't really, if someone's going to accuse me of being too conservative or too liberal, I don't know if I can win that argument with them. All I can do is just keep doing my job best I can.
Perfect. And so, is there any additional information that you want to add about Marfa? What Marfa has going on right now? Any events, programming specifically? Any new maybe storylines that y'all are following? I know I listened to the Boomtown series that y'all had, and that was terrific. Are you going to be working on anything similar like that?
I think right now we're kind of in a rebuilding phase with, as we all try and figure out what to do as more people get vaccinated, and what life looks like after the pandemic, because we're not even close to being back to normal, or whatever that means. So I think we're still trying to figure out what comes next. So right now I think it's focusing on local news, looking at what features we can do as we try and balance still covering the pandemic, but coming into this kind of new realm of people going back to normal. I think that's, coming up we'll have a pledge drive, and we're trying to figure out how to do that remotely. So we didn't really do that last year, so we'll be back on the air kind of all together for the first time as a staff remotely, which will be really interesting. So that'll be coming up this next month. I think it's just, we'll be following local news. I will be following, the recent facility set up outside of Midland, following, the oil prices. We're still in the mid 60s. I haven't checked Bloomberg Energy today, but I believe that's where we were at most recently. And that's kind of crazy after the last year we've had. We're working on a series called Quiet and Loud, which deals with that's less newsy, but more about just examining, what has changed because of the pandemic, or looking at more maybe more character-driven stories and sound-driven stories. We kicked off the series last fall with a story about how quiet Big Ben sounded, and then we did one about Presidio, the West Texas Food Bank going to Presidio and the lines because of the pandemic. I did one about US 285 that came out in January, that about how Death Highway in Reeves County just became so very quiet as prices went negative, and still remain quiet as we see a low rig count. But those are some of the things we're looking at right now.
And it's important for our viewers to know, even though the name of the radio station is Marfa Public Radio, y'all tell your viewers all the area that you cover, because you, Mitch, are here in Midland, and you cover more of the Midland area. So tell them, so if they're hesitant to listen to Marfa Public Radio because they're like, oh no, they only cover Marfa, y'all cover a wide range.
Yeah, I mean, we're a small news staff, but we really try to do our best. I'm based here in Midland and have been for about 2.5 years.
Mhm.
The rest of the news team is based in Marfa, but we cover the entire Big Bend Tri-County area. That's Brewster, uh, Presidio, and Jeff Davis, and that includes Big Bend. That includes, the border that goes along the Big Bend region. And then we broadcast, like we cover a range that's about the size, I believe we figured this out one time, about the size of South Carolina, from like all the way down, all the way up here down to Presidio. So it's a really big range to cover. So I put a lot of miles on my car sometimes, but
Every county, every area of the Permian Basin and um, West Texas is very different, right?
yes,
So,
yes, yeah, it's very different. And we can't claim to cover that entire swath completely with our radio signals, but anyone can listen to our signals, our radio station live online if they have a good broadband. And we're continually working to expand our coverage with our radio. Like we didn't used to have a radio tower in Presidio, and we made that our um, project and got it up fairly quickly before the pandemic. So yeah, we're continuing to grow and try and can give as best coverage we can to a large rural area. There are a lot of stories in rural areas that don't get the chance to get covered in a lot of places, and we want to make sure we're covering as many of them as we can.
Perfect. And so we have a few minutes left, and so I wanted to ask, what do you enjoy most about journalism, specifically news, radio news journalism?
Oh, I think I like sound, and I like the creativity of trying to create an engaging story through just people's voices and sound editing, sound design. Something I need to get better. Of course, we're always growing, but that's something I really find really, really great and engaging. And I think this job allows me to get exposed to moments, people that I never would be exposed to if I was doing a different job. Like there are just moments when I just have to I get to look back on. It's like I would not have seen this amazing scene. I recorded sound for the New York Times recently that in their ongoing Odessa series, and I got to just hang out with teenagers in a marching band, and it was amazing. During the pandemic. And just I never would have been with them at practice in the morning and got to watch them just be themselves. If I wasn't doing this job, I wouldn't. And there are just a lot of moments that I really cherish that this job allows me to see, and also then has me try and share with others through my stories. And that's something I really like about this job.
In radio news, it's a challenge. You have a different kind of challenge because you're trying to express what the story's about without, facial expressions, without video. And so if you can do that well, and I feel like, public radio does that really well, then you've really, I think you've really enhanced a person's life, being able to tell a story just through audio and through voice. It's kind of like an audiobook, you can listen to just the sound of somebody's voice and get entranced in the book. And I feel like, doing radio news does something similar.
Oh yeah, I agree. And sometimes I think you can tell more about someone if I'm talking to someone and they're telling me something really emotional. Sometimes there's just a lot of information when you're listening and looking at someone, and that is sometimes great in a film or movie or TV news, which I'm a fan of all those things. But sometimes if you just hear someone's voice, that can you have to concentrate on that. You can
listen better.
Yeah, you can hear so much more about their emotion and maybe their state of mind or what they're thinking if you have those other details maybe not in front of you. And yeah, there's something great about that deprivation of radio and audio.
Exactly. And so just tell us a little bit about what some of the I guess programming that Marfa Public Radio has, and that in addition to, you know, the local. I know there's Texas Standard, you know, if you want to talk about some of those.
Yeah, we carry Texas Standard, which is like you know, a statewide news magazine, kind of like if you're familiar with Morning Edition. That's kind of like the national, you know, news programming for, you know, for a few hours in the morning, and then and we'd call those magazines because it's like a hodgepodge of stories from around the country. And then like the Texas Standard is like the statewide version of that for Texas. So they take our stories, they take stories from member stations in Dallas, Houston, Lubbock, Amarillo, and they also produce their own content to like do this kind of 5-day a week, hour-long great show. And then we have a national programming coming out of like Washington, like 1A, where it's like a more discussion show. Fresh Air out of Philadelphia with Tara Gross is a big one, where it's just like, you know, arts and culture interviews and news interviews as well. She does all wide ranging. And then we have a lot of local DJs that we do music programming in the evening. Like, yeah, we have nights with blues. We have a mystery show where we have random people from communities come on and play music that were more likely to happen, you know, before the pandemic. I'm sure will be reestablished. We have like new music shows. I think it's No Country for Old Music is what it's called. We have, I don't know, it's just, our music programming is great because it's like done by volunteer DJs, and it just ranges like all sorts of genres. And like not all member stations are like mixed format, which is like news and music. And I love looking at stations that have both, because I think you need both to stay sane some days. Yeah. And I also think it's like just a great way to have like a different tone, you know, and have more volunteer and community, you know, engagement when you have, you know, community members playing their music for you in the evenings.
I know last year, y'all, right in the middle of the shutdown, y'all launched a music series where y'all were focusing on very, very, very local musicians, because musicians weren't able to get out there. That was great, being able to listen to and find new artists. So y'all do a lot of that as well.
Yeah. Like we have a whole show that it's like from the front porch, done by our chief operations officer, Lisa Catile, and she does that every Saturday, and she focuses on, you know, people who have played in like West Texas or who are from West Texas. Yes. And that is a very far-ranging show, but like it's fantastic to hear everyone who's like come through, whether it's like someone I don't know who lives in Terlingua, or, you know, it's like Big Thief, you know, who's like played, or like Solange, who's like shot music videos out here. So it's like great to like really kind of like realize how like far-reaching and the music scene is in West Texas.
And there's a lot of very very good local talent.
Yes, there's a lot.
So so with the few minutes that we have left, Mitch, just tell us a little bit about where we can listen to Marfa Public Radio, where we can find you, your website, the station numbers, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, well, you can in Midland and Odessa, you can listen to us at 91.3 on the FM dial, and our website is just marfapublicradio.org, and that's about it. You know, if you're
and you mentioned that people can, if they don't, they can't get the local station, you can stream it on the website.
Yes, yeah, you can stream it on the website. So if for any reason, like if you turn to 91.3 and our signal's down, which sometimes happens because of power outages or freezing weather that freezes our antenna and we can't come up with a blowtorch, and you still have internet, you can go to our website and listen live, a live stream of our programming. It's in the upper right-hand corner, just it says listen, and it'll pop up and you're good to go.
And we're going to be posting all those links as well after the live stream in our comment section as well, so people can view those. And so lastly, what advice, if somebody wants to go into news journalism, specifically radio news, what advice do you give them?
I mean, hold the mic to the side and like about this length away. I don't think.
Should they clone? You know, should they clone their reporting? should they clone their writing skills? Should they clone their, interview skills? What advice? Get an internship to get some, live.
Yeah, I mean, I think find a way in. I think like if you can find an internship that pays if you're younger, or is for class credit, like I don't think unpaid internships are that great, having done some. But find a way into the industry. Ask if there's a position you can do. Don't be intimidated by journalism. Don't think you have like if you've already gone to college, which I had, and you're like, well, maybe this is something I'm interested in. There are radio training, there are audio training programs out there that have scholarships that are some are affordable. I just there are a lot of great online resources to learn. It doesn't take writing is important, talking is important, but that all comes with time. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring things out. So just try it. If you have an idea, maybe email someone at your local radio station, be like, hey, I have an idea, could I give you a call about it and talk to you a little bit about it? Just take your shot. And if you feel like you have a good idea and you just want to try and do it, do it. But if it's you want a job as a reporter, yeah, I would say, find an in somewhere, whether it's pitching your story and getting a few stories on the air, helping produce something, being a job, a field producer or something like that. Yeah, just find any way in. That's what I had to do. Don't be afraid of small stations and just keep at it. Cause if you, yeah, we need more people of, all kinds in this, field. So I, just ask someone how to do it. You can reach me at my email, or you can, yeah, wherever you're watching this from, I'm sure there's a way to figure it out. I don't know if that's easy, practical help. Everyone has a different road to this.
No, absolutely. Our previous guest, Tatum Gwen, which is, she's a news anchor for one of the local stations here, and she said the same thing. She said, don't give up. Keep calling every station. Try to get in, and get in the door. So don't give up. Well, thank you so much, Mitch, for joining us today, and I'm so happy that you were able to talk a little bit about public radio. As I mentioned off air, I listen to public radio every day, so I really enjoy it, and I really think that our viewers and our followers and our students can learn a lot from the stories that public radio produces. So thank you, everybody, for watching today, and thank you again, Mitch, for presenting today.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.